Hello everyone. So, welcome to our Bitcast third episode. Today, we are going to discuss a very important topic. Many people are talking about security, scalability, and decentralization. There is a very famous discussion that has happened with Elon Musk, with Vitalik Buterin, that how we can increase the block size by 10x, but reducing the fees by 100x. And there are many concerns regarding the fees and how even if we go for scalability, then decentralization would get compromised. So, in order to take an expert view on this, today we have a special guest with us who is the co-founder of DeckBC, Blockchain Zoo, Mr. Roberto. Hi, Rob.
Hello there. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. There is a very interesting aspect. I sent a copy of the book that we have, New Strategies in Blockchain, to Elon Musk. And immediately after I sent the book, because I tracked with DHL when it was received, he came out with the news that Bitcoin is polluting and he was dropping Bitcoin. I wonder if it has been my fault or not. Surely enough, the things that are written in the book may have triggered his ideas on giving more transaction per second and changing how the core of the blockchain works, because probably he has read our proof of participation, or the book is being used to block a door that stays always open. I don't know.
Absolutely. And whomsoever will read your book and understand proof of participation, they would understand why that there is actually decentralization is getting compromised because of the big pooling which are getting introduced in Bitcoins. And that is a little bit cause of a worry. Finally, Elon Musk has read your book, I believe. Maybe it took him 90 days to understand this, but he understood. That's fine. That's okay. He's a busy man, He's getting into many ventures. So, first of all, for our audience, for a layman person, I want to understand from you in brief and in a very simple way why there is always a debate regarding these three dimensions. When we scalability, security, decentralization, whenever I want to stretch one thing, the other side is getting compromised. Why is it so? Why is it so in blockchain? Please make us understand.
Well, scalability for blockchain is one of the biggest problem, one of the biggest turnoff, and the reason why many applications are not being implemented in blockchain yet. I would say because of how the original idea of blockchain was implemented makes it harder to scale. There is always this comparison between MasterCard amount of transaction per second and Bitcoin amount of transaction per second, etc., etc. The structure and the logic on how a peer-to-peer network work compared to centralized data center is the reason on the delay and the slow, let's say, amount of operation that can be calculated per second. But the evolution of the technology for the centralizing system is moving toward the direction where it is no more limit. When we consider that the amount of all the blockchain that are running in this moment in the planet, probably sum together, they reach a very high amount of transaction per second if they were a single network and not many separated things. Okay. If we can somehow bridge them all, then we get to a stupid, incredible high amount of transaction per second. So in this mentality, and in the same way that Ethereum is planning to evolve, the sharding, so this dividing the work between subset of node out of the full peer-to-peer network will allow to create parallel tasks. So many things are happening at the same time, while cryptography also keep and guarantee that there is no double spending or no double things happening that they shouldn't happen. And in this way, more operation can be done per second. And so more transaction, more updates of the data. So when we are looking at a single functionality, for example, remittance, which is the key function of every cryptocurrency, obviously it has to be a balance of an account, has to be reflected everywhere in the same way. When we take decentralization to other aspects, when there is identity, there are different kinds of document processes, when there are different kinds of things that, yes, may be necessary to interact one with the other, but one doesn't affect directly the other, or even with a delay. For example, a document is expired, so in the moment that I need to use it to do something else, it's not valid because it's expired, but it's not a real-time thing. Then scaling becomes much easier, because really I can divide in subgroups and subsets the full extensive amount of network that is available, and delegate certain specific transaction to certain specific subset of nodes. And this is very much the solution that is being applied in places that can scale in a good consistent manner.
Okay. Well, you touch upon a very important topic and very important point, which is, I believe, is going to happen in the month of July or in near future, when the sharding would get introduced in Ethereum. And in the first launch, they are introducing around 64 shards. Many people are still skeptic about scalability. And, I don't want to put Vitalik under too much of a heat, but he also hasn't mentioned any specific numbers, whatever you can expect. What is your view? I mean, how is really, there is a lot of people in the community of Ethereum which is not too excited about sharding. They say, no, still the fundamentals problem will remain over there with respect to scalability. But do you think this sharding would really improve the scalability of Ethereum?
It will do improve things, but you need to remember that Ethereum is a living and existing blockchain that needs to remain backward compatible and needs to only grow on the basis of the root that already has planted on the ground. So there are limitations in what can be done to grow, to mature, because there is always the limitation based on how are the starting point. Let's say I may have an airplane with propellers, I can get better propellers, I can get better engine for the propellers, but I cannot transform it in a turbine, kind of airplane, because the engine is completely different. So the advantage of a new blockchains is the one that they can deploy from day zero new technologies and then build on that. The core difference of a software like a word processor for your computer rather than a decentralized application is that the word processor for the computer has an instance that is launched when you open it and then is closed when you finish using it. So if there is an update to the software, you're going to launch the updated version and it ends there. When there is the same software installed or software that work on a protocol, so on a logic that need to be compatible in thousands of nodes, you can now do a drastic update to the software in one place because it's gonna collapse. It's gonna create a high risk of a problem for the full network. So once a network is running on some logic that is very consolidated, it's very hard to introduce drastic changes. So Bitcoin and all the derivatives, Ethereum and all the derivatives are all living with this baggage attached to them. So the need is to drastic new things, which are a very difficult choice, because I can make $100 million with the new DeFi stupid crap, but if I invest and work hard to make new technology, it requires years of work, it requires years of testing, it requires years before it can be trusted. So it is a path that only brave people will take, or stupid people, I don't know, but it's inevitable. The technology need to advance. Unfortunately, yes, the kind of system that we have, you consider it's very hard to upgrade there are airline are still using IBM AS400, as a core system, because also that, if you think, airplane never stop traveling. So the core software that manage all the things cannot be stopped. So once you have a software that is live and need to stay alive, it's scary to do something drastic, because you cannot block a full airline just because the update didn't go well. So it's a similar thing with blockchain. With the centralized system is even more complex. So there should be more attention and support to new technologies, in my opinion, compared to the evolution of old technologies. But people, go where they trust, where they see, where they know. So that's
absolutely. It is decentralized at the end of a day, and we need to keep this in our mind, that any change which is coming into the community has to be accepted by the community. That's why we call it a hard fork, soft fork. There are so many things which are there. Well, you have touched upon a very important point, Roberto. I mean, without naming anything, there are a number of banks in this world, which are still running on mainframes, and they are still the banks, and they're still doing their transactions and everything. Yeah.
Because if something works, why changing it, right?
Correct. On that front. Now, you have said that there are only either a very brave ones or a stupid ones who would try to, take the next step to improve this technology. I would say this is the lot of different people. I mean, the ones who think differently. Okay. And it is not a self-promotion, but somehow, whatever I have seen, what is happening in DEC-BC, decentralized blockchain, in the form of coming up with this new consensus mechanism, which is proof of participation, energy friendly, very network friendly, I would say. Those who would become a part of a network, it is very, very incentivized for them. I mean, today I need to get into that race of publishing that first block into the chain to get my rewards. Whatever the hard work that I'm doing, all those things. And, if I don't have a investment on a superior hardware, I have no chance. Yeah. So where you will see DEC-BC, making a difference into this dilemma of scalability, security, and decentralization. Which space and how you are coming into this picture and becoming that savior for the community to resolve this problem. Your view?
Sometimes I think the struggle to introduce the electric cars in the market run by oil-consuming and producing companies. But the fact is that sometimes there are solutions in search of a problem. And other time you have a solution for actual existing problems. Depends who is better salesman after all, and who has a better technology.
Is it a better salesman, or who has more power on Twitter to influence people just by putting up a tweet?
That's what I'm saying. Is now who has the best technology, but who's the better influencer, salesman as a large term, right? Who is more influential to get attention toward these things. So surely DEC-BC has been born previously as ZooBC, is evolving in DEC-BC with this problem in mind, right? So he has a particular structure that allow multiple chains set to run parallel one to the other, and this is a way to solve scalability in terms of amount of transaction per second. So a single chain has a limit, but when you put 3, 4, 10, 20, 50 chains running parallel, they are dealing the same items, then you have the possibility to scale. And this is one of the evolution that DEC-BC should bring in. There are, in terms of security, there is the logic for which the network, how does the network grow, and where stands the possibility to manipulate the network is set in such a way that it requires a high percentage of presence. And bigger is the network, harder it is to attack. and at the same time is a very slow process to gain power in the network. So an attack will take years to perform, and as soon as there are two different attackers, they eliminate each other. So a certain way will be try to attempt an attack always to keep the blockchain secure, which is an interesting thing. And third is the couple from cryptocurrency. So it's really the platform to implement decentralized applications. So that's the idea of the work that is being done, is ahead of time, but because it's ahead of time, it's going to be there and ready in the moment that the need is there. We already had shaped this based on past experience of things that needed to be done that would have ideally had such a platform for decentralized application in place. And it's something that I do deeply believe is going to come a very used service in the moment that many other applications, many other services are going to be decentralized.
Okay. We have seen in the past there are many blockchains that get introduced into the market by keeping one or two industries specifically in their mind. For an example, R3 Corda is very financial services specific, and it is solving that use cases of trade finance and all those things. With TechBC, is it any industry specific, or it's a base that can be reutilized or then can be picked up by many other industries?
I wonder when Tesla or Edison were trying to promote electricity, were they thinking to a specific unique industry? So they say electricity is specifically to make toasts. So that's if you want to make toast, you need electricity, or the light bulbs. If you want to have light in the night, you need electricity. Everything else is just a collateral. Or if we think electricity is something that has so many different functions for our lives that is hard to think that the electric companies now will now give you is so obvious the things that you can do with electricity that they don't need to promote electricity to you. I don't see an electric company say, hey, have a electric meter with us so you can make your toast better, or you can watch TV, or like have the Christmas lights on. It's not, because electricity is the base for so many different uses. When people didn't know what electricity is for, probably in order to gain market share, they were going to promote it just for something, like you have light in the night, I guess is the most, but the electricity was used there for telegraph. The electricity was used there to make many other things. So a little bit creating a technology that is a base, is a platform to create the centralized application, find is a sort of obstacle. So in the moment that you are too generic, nobody's interested in you. The moment you're specifically generic, you are burning yourself from the opportunity to say, well, but also these other people can need me. So that's why, yes, probably entering the market with a specific niche, it will be strategic things to do, also to get investment, to get things. But the bare truth is that the platform is for decentralizing services, period. Any kind of service that is now centralized can be decentralized.
So guys, we are open for any industries. Please come over here and we would be able to make your decentralized application. Doesn't matter whether you are from supply chain, financial services, gaming, or whatever, even electricity. We would be able to serve you.
We are now expert in electricity decentralized system. We are now expert in financial. We know the platform, and we work together with people that is expert in one particular field or industry, and in order to provide the decentralized part for them.
Absolutely.
And they have the knowledge to do the rest. They don't want to say that we are implementing anything we don't know.
The one learning of my life is that technology is never a bad. Technology is always good. But the intrinsic value of the technology depends on the use case that you are trying to solve. I mean, if the use case in itself is not justified for the technology, it doesn't matter what you bring. It is never going to work. Like, you cannot drive Safari, or you cannot go into a safari with your Ferrari. You need to have a special kind of cars for that. So amazing. One more thing. There is a tweet from Elon Musk. I want blockchain community to work for a specific platform he mentioned, but I'm taking it in a general sense, to increase the block size by 10x and reducing the fees by 100x. Amanda.
But the fundamentals are there. So the idea, in order to bring decentralization to the hands of everybody, those are two aspects that need to be solved. The specific that he's talking about is a brand as well. That's something that is, to me, is core. There is a huge difference from a brand or a particular name of an application and the technology that is underneath it, right? If I go to, let's say, a brand that we can mention, no problem. If I go to McDonald's to eat McBurger, whatever, do I care which is the machine that they use behind to fry or to cook the patties? So at the end, what I need is the burger that they give me, right? If I purchase a car, what robot they use in this production chain is nothing of my core interest. Maybe I'm interested casually, but if I buy the car, I want the car to work. I want the car to be that specific color and do what I want. Same thing when I buy a computer. So when I use cryptocurrency, when I use a decentralized system, I want it to do what I want. So I want my Bitcoin to be able to be transferred to somebody else, to be secured, etc., etc. What is the technology underneath that is providing this service? Is something that is a secondary aspect. So unless I'm interested in technology, but then is another thing, right? If I'm interested in engines, I want to look at the valves of the engine of the car, but that's something else. So in the moment that Elon Musk says that this Dogecoin that he likes need to go at these specifics, in my brain, I think it doesn't say that the current technology that runs Dogecoin has to be modified such in a way that what he's saying is Dogecoin is cool because it was cheap, it was, it says this brand that he likes need a technology that can do this thing. Once this technology can be there, then we can see things to change, right? Things to be different. And this is important, in my opinion, because that's what we try to do. We try to create the technology. Then you can attach on top of the brand that you want. Tomorrow you can transfer, you can, move all the Bitcoin from the current blockchain to the blockchain with the new technology. If it's stable and runs, why not? It works. So that's the thing that Elon Musk means, in my opinion. And, he went almost to Mars, without almost, but he went and recycled rockets. So he's doing a lot of amazing things. Probably he had a window on the future. And about the centralization, this is something correct that he says, in my opinion. There is a need for that. Not that it's possible to do it with the current technology that runs, because it's not possible, but
but everybody is driving towards that, how we can improve the technology, and that's where my question is more specific to cryptocurrency. It's okay, it's fine, it's just one of the implementations, but the technology in itself, it requires these two pillars to improve in order to get democratized or decentralized in a true way. One question from a very special community of DeckBC, which is a developer community. We have seen after a few weeks, you have released your tutorial 10, especially for Mac iOS people, that how to download the code available on GitHub, install it, and start working on that. I'm sure you would be just want to check with you. When similar kind of a video would come for Linux and for Windows people, any tentative, any something that you can share?
Look, the machine is ready here next to me. as soon as there is half of a day available to do the recording, that's gonna be published as well. So we are not on one side or another. We are for equal opportunities. Even people that has a Windows machine, they will be able to do their part. So we're really accepting everyone.
I thought it's good that you didn't mention, guys. Sorry, you require M1, not a normal one. So, and what else that we could expect from you for a developer community? You know, in that upcoming things they are that eagerly waiting from you being a co-founder of Decentralized Blockchain. What you want to just as a pathway? If you need to give me a little bit of a look into the future, what would be for us?
The application belongs to the community at the end of the day. We act as a foundation to regulate these things. So this is the first step. We did a huge investment to create the first, if you want, prototype of working, because it's actually fully accessory of a mobile application, of everything else. Now we're moving to make a second step. It is easier for people because they can open, launch, and run the application. We are distributing coins to whoever is asking, and the developer can start looking at the code and make some changes. People can contact us. We have a nice forum, and we are slowly gonna publish all the tools for the community to be together. But we have Telegram groups. We have a lot of interesting place where people can have a conversation about the code. We already have a couple of bugs that have been, found, and there is some works around them. We're gonna eventually give some bounties for people to do work on the code. At the same time, whales are very welcome to donate and support the project, and investors are welcome to come and take a slice of the cake. We are really in this phase of moving toward the community in all terms.
Okay, and one message from my side as a part of the core team of TechBC. It's my request to all the viewers, first of all, not just only to like this video and to share this video, but also to start contributing into the TechBC platform. Download the code and please just go ahead, develop, take it to the next level. This is for you. That's why we have put it as a decentralized blockchain, and we are there to help you as much as we can. We are ready to take any number of questions from you. So if you have any query, any discussions that you want to do, please leave it at anywhere on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. And I can assure you, I'm your guardian, and I will make Roberto answer all of those questions for you. So that's a promise from my side for you guys. So that's it. Good. That's all in our episode number 3 of Bitcast at TechBC. Thanks a lot, Roberto, for your views. I think we have got a lot of clarity. There is always a debate regarding security, scalability, decentralization, and today you have explained it, 360 degree, I would say, and a big message to the blockchain community to come and become a part of this great initiative. We are trying to do something different. Just be a part of that. Help us, and let's see how we can move together ahead. Yep.
Thank you,
Thank you.
And thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you. Thanks. Stay tuned. Bye-bye. Thank you.